Hello guys, what's going on? Welcome to vlog number 2 here at Lismore Kart Club for the New South Wales State Title Shakedowns. Just arrived a little bit while ago, so we got the go-kart all ready. We're not running new tyres this weekend, we're running the tyres that we were using at the Ipswich meeting from Restricted Titles. There's not a whole heap of wear on the tyres, they are safe to pretty much use for this weekend. So kart's all prepped up, ready to go. Got fuel, got everything, just got to start. Format for this weekend is that we will have time practice today with qualifying in 2 heats. Hopefully we can make it to a 3rd heat today. If not, it'll be tomorrow. And we will also be having a final tomorrow, so this will be a whole weekend adventure. Alright guys, so here we are for time practice, the only practice session that we get across this 2-day weekend. For anyone wondering, I am using the Cambox B4 Pro for this session, as it is a practice session, but just keep a note, it cannot be used through qualifying or any of the official race sessions, which is a bit of a shame because it'd be awesome to record these races in the camera. But here we are anyway, we've just come out on track, we've skipped exiting on track, we're following yet again our friend in the number 17 red maroon plated kart, just trying to sort of gauge and see where we're both sort of weak and strong in this practice session. As you can see, he gets a slightly better exit there, using all the exit curb off the corner. And through the top of the hill, he seems to be quicker than us acceleration wise, but we seem to just reel him in just slightly through some of the top corners, and even coming up, and even there he seems to get a better exit than us, but we seem to have all this once again a bit more closing speed than what he does. He goes a bit wide there, and we sort of do a bit of a switchback on him, go down the inside here, and we got the move done, use all the exit curb. He's alongside us though, but he chooses to let us go. But here we are now. I'm going to take you through probably the fastest lap of the weekend, so use the exit curb there, tucking in to get a bit slipstream, coasting through turn 1, straight lining turn 2, take that inside curb, braking at the tyre barrier on the left there, using all the exit curb off the exit, getting a good run up to the hill, that's crucial. Turn 4, throw the card in there, then you got turn 5, turn 6, and then on the exit of turn 7 you can get away with a bit of exit curb there. Now coming up to the final corner, interesting, you can take a lot of lines through there using exit curb there, run up to the line, and that has scored us a 31.317 or 34 something, I don't know, but that was our fastest time through practice, and now here we are coming back into the pits. So a pretty decent session, just to learn the track again, because I haven't really driven this track since the end of April or the start of May. It's a very lovely track.
Well, that was alright, but understeer, not good.
So here we are for qualifying now. Just starting our fastest lap of the session, our fastest hot lap of this session, pretty early on. Only lap 3, once again, in a 6-minute qualifying time session. And while we're on this hot lap, we're sort of really gaining on the kart that's in front of us there. I sort of wanted to jump him out of the gate, but as you heard when I was starting the go-kart, it sort of faltered a bit upon starting up, and I had to sort of press the button again to sort of refire it. But we're really gaining time on us, on this guy in front of us. And as you can see here, we gain more time there. We go to brake. He's braked a little bit too early, and we've just slightly tapped him there. Ruined both our laps. I've gone into the marbles there, put a bit of dirt on my tyres, and I haven't scrubbed them off. And then, because I didn't scrub them off, I apologise for the driving you're seeing now. We're sort of doing a bit of lawn mowing, cutting some grass. Not something you want to be doing with a go-kart engine. It's not very ideal. And finally we get a bit of space on track to sort of scrub our tyres. But unfortunately, that was the session for us, guys. We set our fastest lap early on in the session. And had we not sort of made that mistake there, that's on our part there, we probably could have had pole, because the kart was really hooked up. It was really fast, and it was super set up. Okay, so that was completely a horrible qualifying session. Just narrowly missed out by half a tenth of a second, pretty much. Kart was completely in the window up until we hit that driver by mistake and went off circuit. The kart was in the window, tires and everything. I just completely blew it. Surprisingly though, that was actually my fastest time for the whole session. And then there were 2 laps at the end of the qualifying session where we equaled it, but didn't go any better. So pretty amazing how my best time was at the start of the session, which is usually unusual for a kart that's in my setup, but it is what it is. More importantly though, the accident could have been a lot worse. Both drivers involved are safe. No one was injured or hurt. No karts damaged, fortunately. So I apologise for my crappy driving. Hopefully Heat 1 will be a lot better. But yeah. So here we are for race 1, guys. The number 17 on pole, myself on the front row next to him. And we're waiting for the lights to go out and we're underway. Unfortunately, we were just really laid back at the start there. It wasn't a very good start for me. As you can see, 3rd place is only on the inside there. But we do get ahead of him. Leader goes to sort of block there, and that sort of compromises his exit, but he still gets away slightly better than us, as we sort of try to just sort of gauge and see how strong he is on this opening lap. But we're all pretty well even, all pretty well equal and strong. We go to have a bit of a look move there, but just not quite. He goes a bit wide, but he still gets a better exit than us. It seems that we're just not very good off of that final corner there. But we have pretty strong pace, me and the 17. We're really, really strong. But what we're looking to do in these opening heats is ultimately try to be fast to sort of be ahead of this main pack, as there are a few karts behind us that are running new fresh tyres compared to what we are. at this point our tyres are probably 50, maybe even 60 laps old, and these guys behind us are probably maybe, well, 10 laps maybe after qualifying even, or even after practice as well, 10, 20 laps. So what we're ultimately aiming to do is to be fast, to be consistent, but also to not to push too hard on our tyres, because this track, it is super abrasive, super aggressive on tyre wear. It's really ridiculous. It just melts away. So what we're looking to do, we just made a bit of a big mistake there, and lost a lot of ground off of the kart in front of us there, which wasn't really nice. And we finished P2, which isn't a bad result there, at the end of Heat 1. Okay guys, so race 1's finished. P2 from P2 basically, so front row start. Didn't really improve too much there, kind of just wanted to manage the tyre wear as we're running on old tyres that are probably 60-50 laps old now. Obviously it would be a lot faster, a lot better if I ran on new tyres, but the guy in third place, turns out he's using new tyres. But as for me and number 17, we are not. We are using tyres from what we used at Ipswich last weekend. Kart feels pretty good, pretty hooked up, pretty stable. It turns really nicely. Had a sort of a near miss spin that race. Nearly lost the back end on off of turn 4, but luckily we caught it and maintained position. Didn't lose too much time to P1. So just got to go at it again and see how this second heat goes for this afternoon, and then focus on the races tomorrow. Well, that was the opposite of nice. We've been jumped off the line there at the start of our race, and as a result we are dropped a position to P3. Still not a worry though, as it's only the second heat. It's very still early on. We do want to get back ahead of this guy, but we don't want to take too much out of the tyre in doing so. As I was saying before, this track just eats tyres. It just melts away, and it's very, very aggressive. So on this track here, you got to be super smooth with your braking inputs, steering inputs, throttle inputs, everything in order to manage the tyre. But at the same time too, we still need to maintain pace and be quick. It's only the second lap here, but we're not losing too much time off of these guys. We're all pretty even. So just wanting to see and gauge where this 22 now in front of us is quick. And the leader's not really getting too far away from us. As you can see there, we've noticed that he's not really taking that inside curb on turn 2, and there is time to be gained through there. Look at that, here we go, we take it now. We are a fair bit back, but we go for a bit of a half send there and still manage to sort of make it stick, and there we are, bouncing out of our seat, coming out of the corner to just sort of try and get a bit of a better drive up the hill. And I think here we are on a lap where we sort of close up to the leader. As you can see, we've obviously maintained position, but we've closed up to the leader now. But we've sort of taken a bit out of our tyres to sort of catch up, because I wanted to sort of see if I could try and attack him and sort of get to the lead for this heat. But we just couldn't get quite close enough. But we were very, very even this race. As you can see, they're just sending it through the last corner, coming up to the line. And once again, we've managed to maintain and finish in second place ahead of third place. This was a very close race. The top 5 were only separated by 2 seconds, so I'm very proud to stay there. So that was heat 2. It was, wow, super close, super close. If I actually had my GoPro on my radiator facing backwards, it would have shown you just how close the racing really was. We were sort of catching and then sort of losing time with the kart in front. to chase for the lead, but the carts behind, it was like a train of 5 carts from start till finish. Super close racing, it was intense. I thought I would have had to block for the last few laps, but fortunately we managed to remain P2, which we'll be starting there for tomorrow, which is good, because we're still front row and we can still get a decent jump going onto the first lap maybe if we're fortunate. Just got to start getting better at the starts and start reacting when it's go time and everything. So but yeah, otherwise a good day. Kart handled really well. It wasn't really much of a point trying to change anything. The tires are starting to really fall off and melt now. That's what happens when you run old tires that are like now 1.5 meets old. So hopefully tomorrow we can do a better job and take away the win. It's going to be tricky because number 17 is fast and his kart's pretty well prepped up too, and then we got a guy behind that's on a new set of tyres who will probably be strong in the final or throughout all tomorrow as well. Today we got 3 outings to do today. We got 2 heats and a final. I think that the 4th heat will be longer than the 3rd heat, so we'll do heat 3 with 15 laps like yesterday, heat 4 with I think 18 laps, could be still 15 laps, and then we got a 20 lap final to do, which will be somewhat pretty vigorous and it'll probably be interesting considering you know, tyre wear's not really going too well at the moment, with the fronts starting to age a bit. So I've just not really changed anything in my setup, but I think the most important thing is just sort of just driving to the end of the race, but still trying to maintain position and pace as best as possible. The last thing I want to do is lose a spot like through the races. If we drop back to maybe 2nd row and 3rd position, that's not so bad because we're only behind P1 and we basically get, if we can get a good jump, we basically get the whole shot going into 1 and we can maintain position. So it's going to be interesting to see what will happen today. But like I said, we're just going to get through these heats and then once that's finished, we can push to the final. So here we are, guys. We get underway for heat 3. Once again, number 17 is the pole sitter. We'll try to go around the outside there. But we have a bit of contact through turn 2, and we lose a bit of ground to the leader there by about a good kart length, as you can see. But there we sort of gain a bit of time on him there. But we're not doing too bad now. We have had a bit of contact on this opening lap. Here we go, we got a bit of a replay of my GoPro on my radiator there to show a bit of the rear view footage of the start there, and we got the 22 on the inside there. We've had contact, he's bounced off our kart, karts go flying everywhere. The 22's lost a spot there, and we've just maintained ahead, and we get a big drive off turn 3 going up the hill, and now we show some footage of the guy who got ahead of the number 22 there. His number's 24. So yeah, footage showing 3rd place there. He's not actually too far off us. This is probably about halfway into the race there, and as you can see, we get a really good drive of the final corner there. We seem to be just better than him coming off of the corners, but he's taken the inside curb, so he knows that there is time to be gained. Straight lining the turn 2 curb there, and as we go through this corner here, we get really sideways, we lose a lot of time. He tries to go for a move on the inside there, but there's just not enough space, and he thinks better of it. He tries to do a switchback on us there, but he sort of gives up on that idea, and once again we get a better exit than what he does off the final corner, and we're able to just stretch Ray just a little bit, once again taking that inside curb. And he's dropped back a fair bit now. He's dropped back probably about a good kart length there. Once again, getting a way better run up the hill than what he is. Gets a little sideways entry there, and he launches over that curb, and in doing so, he has dropped the drive chain that drives the sprocket from the front on the crank to the rear sprocket there. He gets a bit sideways on turning on entry, launches over the curb, goes off into the dirt, so that's probably for sure the chain popped off the sprocket and the axle, maybe even a bent sprocket carrier, possibly even an axle. So he has DNF'd, he's out of the race, which only leaves me, there he is on the side of the road there, leaves me tailing the leader there with the new third place, sort of a good 5 kart lengths back. But that was the race. We just held on and maintained P2. There's the finish line there. Not a bad result, but my oh my. You really got to watch out for driving over some of these curves here at Lismore. They can be super deadly. Even that turn 2 curb, after heavy enough exposure running over it, it can sort of flex and break and even bend chains and parts there. But yeah, P2 for Heat 3. Here we are for the start of Heat 4. Coming up to the line now, getting ready to start the race. And unfortunately, 22 has threaded the needle there. He's gotten me, and in doing so, we've had 4th place guy there just jump me as well, the number 35. And we don't really move anywhere this race. We sort of stick behind, and I think if I can just stick in this position, maybe I might end up 3rd on the 2nd row for the start of the final, which wouldn't be a bad result, wouldn't be a bad idea, because if I'm starting behind the leader, which would be the number 17, and be 3rd, so 2nd row on the inside directly behind him, it wouldn't be a bad place to start, because then I can just get the whole shot into turn 1 and basically get bragging rights on the inside of the corner there. But we follow now the 35, saw him playing a bit with his tune there on the go. We get it really close to him there, maybe even just slightly bump him there, but doesn't really unsettle him. And he sort of is pretty strong coming off of corners and what we are at this point. I think at this point, from Heat 4 onwards, we really start to struggle with tyre wear in the front of our tyres, and he just sort of gets away better in some of the corners here. As you can see there, yeah, he gets a better drive up the hill there. We do gain on him there, but we lose so much on the exit. At this point, the go-kart sort of starts to feel like it's pushing a bit on the front by the mid-corner, or the apex of the corner rather, or even by the time we get past into the exits. And now we got the 24 directly behind us again now, and even he's looking pretty feisty and pretty strong. He's smacking curbs again, and look at how close. He really gets a better exit than what we do here, but then we sort of just pull away. I don't know whether if that's just my kart having a different gear rating setup that just helps get out of corners better, or maybe he's just got a better rear end setup than what we do. I'm not sure. It's the interesting thing about karting in terms of setup. We really just pull away from him there, but then he gets away. He comes right up at us, but I do believe that this was someone that was running brand new tyres compared to what I was. One of the 3 people that were running new tyres. He tries to go for a move there, not quite, gives us a little bit of a love tap there, a bit of a hurry up, saying, come on mate, you got to get a move on here. I want to get up front and you're slower than me. And he sort of isn't really too correct there, because I am still ahead of him. So once again, and he drops back there, but then he closes, like, look at that. He closes up so much on entry, but we just get away from him on the exits there. It's really just down to probably a good engine tune as well as a good gearing setup. And he's compromised his exit there because I was sort of bogged down there. And the guy that was behind him, the number 34, has made a move on a great switchback on the high-speed chicane there, and a good exit. And now we've come up to the line for our 4th heat, and we've just finished P4. So not really the best heat, but yeah, we just had to sort of really manage tyre wear and save tyre wear there. And now here we are, coming out of the gate for our final, and unfortunately we're not starting in third place. We are still starting front row in second place. So we sort of just have to see and gauge how we're going to go here at the start. We're just going to be super aggressive and just hold our own off the start here and try not lose any spots, lose any positions. That's the last thing we want to do for the race that matters the most. We get underway, I sort of go to block the middle of the track there so no one threads the needle, but hang on, who's that guy? How did he get there? That's the number 34. He's gone to lead the race, but we've also had contact once again at the start of our race there. This guy, he's just walked away from us coming after turn 3. We don't have any damage to our go-kart. Here's a replay of the rear view footage at the start there. Go to the middle there, sort of block there, but the number 34, he's gone from dead last to get to the lead. We got contact there once again, but this time it's with our friend, the number 17, which isn't too good. Fortunately though, we've got no damage to our go-karts, no bent axles, no bent components, which is very fortunate. Here we got another view from the kart directly behind us, and look at that. His kart goes bouncing, I go cutting probably nearly the whole corner. Missed the whole corner completely, but we just got to get a move on now and race on. Here we are, lap 3. Number 17 goes for a big lunge there. Perfect super maneuver there, and I just decided to let him go because at this point I know my front tyres are struggling and I just probably can't really compete too well with him. He had better front tyre wear than what I did all weekend long, and my front tyres at this point are just not really quite sticking into the race line here, into the track, as ideally as what I want them to. At this point, our lap times toward the end of the weekend were only 3/10 off of what we were doing in qualifying, which is pretty impressive considering the tyre wear and considering the amount of lack of front grip that I've got. But this race was still close nonetheless. And here we are with the number 22 once again behind us. He is absolutely hounding us. He wants to get by, but we're not quite letting him. The 35 tries to go for a move, thinks better of it, wasn't quite fully alongside him there, but it is what it is. And once again, we're just sort of trying to do our best to sort of get away from this pack behind us, drive away, because at this point there's no point in tyre saving. We just sort of got to drive as hard as we can, blitz it to the end of the final, but unfortunately we just cannot get away. There's a bit of movement going on there in the background. The 24's made a move on the 35, really aggressive to make a maneuver up the 2 turns through the hill there, but I mean, if you can make it stick, by all means go for it. It is a very risky passing maneuver to throw one up there, but if you pull it off, it's a bit of a heuristic move. We sort of start to drop time off the kart behind us, but as you can see, as we come back through this section here, he just gets really close up the hill, and he goes to sort of go for a move there, but the 24 goes for 2 and 1. He overtakes not just the 22, but also myself included, which was just unbelievable how we made the move there. And now he moves up into the podium positions, and at this point I'm thinking, where has this guy come from? But this guy was pretty quick over the weekend too, obviously, because he was one of the 3 karts that had new tyres on. So I can't really complain why his pace is better than mine. But as you can see here, even now the 17 goes to make a move for the lead and does so, and look at that, they all just get a far better exit than what I do. The leader goes to block, they all bunch up there, hop the curb there, think about a move there, but not quite. And now we're in a proper train of 3 as we go up the hill there, trying to make the 24 tries to think about a move, the 34 goes to block. Now we come to halfway point in the race. They start to now just pull away from me ever so slightly out of that corner. The 24 here tries to go for a move on the inside. They've got contact, and now they come back onto the track, and the leader, the 17, has just cut through both of them like a hot knife through butter to avoid any collisions. But now I've got a whole heap of grass on my tyres, and I got to try and wash them off as best I can. But the 24, he kept going with a bent steering column, and yeah, he still seems to be driving all right. He does have damage, bent steering column and a bent tie rod. But as we cut to a replay back here, the 24, he just wants to go for a move there, but he's just too far onto the inside. He's not going to make the apex at that sort of speed. They get contact there. The 34 bounces up into the air with the contact from the front tire from the 24. And luckily, no bent axles, no bent rims, no damage, not even a puncture, which is super fortunate. But even with all that, we still couldn't get it around the number 24, who had a bent steering. That is how bad my front tire wear was, and just with the last 4 laps to go, my front tires were just gone. Like, there was nothing left. They were almost at the canvas. So we come to the final corner now. The rear end kicks out. We managed to catch the slide there, but we finished in 4th place out of 8 karts. Bit disappointing, but it is what it is. But overall, a great race meet, and I was happy to race this and sort of check out the show from a bit behind. But if we had new tyres on, I think we could have been in it for a podium at least. So there you go, guys. That was the meet in Taggart Light at the Lismore Kart Club for the New South Wales title shakedown. Bit disappointed to miss out on the podium. Just so close, but just fell off toward the end of the race. Wasn't nice. The front tires just didn't really dig into some of the corners as much as I wanted it to. I thought I would have had decent setup even without new tires, but it seems like new tires are probably the way to go. It is what it is. Some days you're up, some days you're not. Could I have performed a lot better? For sure. Qualifying was messy, riddled with 2 mistakes of my own. And through the heats we had some decent pace, and it was just managing the tires race after race after race, but still trying to keep up to speed, and it just wasn't really good enough at the end of it all. And then come today, it felt good in the opening heat this morning, and then heat 4, the car started to grip up a little more, lost a little pace, lost a position, which wasn't bad. I mean, it was still there. And then obviously the final, obviously the start didn't really hinder me too bad. Didn't really come away with any damage. But apart from that, good race meet, considering I came here with old tires, and this track is not very good on tire wear. That's a fact. And the pace was mostly okay, but yeah, just need to tweak the setup, just touch a bit more. So it is what it is. But that's the meet, and thank you guys so much for watching.